Okay, good day. Let's take a look at your Angustrongylus cantonensis accordingly. Okay, and so yes, the common name of this worm or rodent lungworm accordingly. Okay, and so rat lungworm or rodent lungworm accordingly. And yes, the habitat in rats, they inhabit the lungs, okay, while in your humans they inhabit the brain and the spinal cord accordingly. As for the definitive hosts, the rats still, and the intermediate host, you have your mollusks or your snail or your slugs. You have your kohol and your suso. They are your intermediate host of your Angustrongylus cantonensis. And yes, the infective stage to humans is the third stage larva. The infective stage to humans is the third stage larva. Ova of Angustrongylus cantonensis, they are 48 by 68 micrometers to 74 micrometers. And yes, they are all elongated ovoidal eggs that have a delicate hyaline shells. Okay, and yes, the ova, they are unembryonated when deposited. Okay, please note that the first stage larva, this one is the one found in the lungs of your rat host or the rodent host, and yes, it possesses a distinct small knob near the tip of the tail accordingly. Okay, and so that is for your first stage. Third stage larva, it has two well-developed chitinous rods with expanded knob-like tips at the interior and anterior end. Please note that the third stage larva, again, this one is the infective stage to humans. Okay, and so as for the adult Angustrongylus cantonensis, they are filiform worm with 7 millimeters in length to 17 to 25 millimeters in length accordingly. Okay, and so let's take a look at the larva. Okay, yeah, that is the larva. And then you have here the female adult worm. Please note that your female adult worm, they have this looping of whitish uterus to the red digestive tract. Okay, and so, or what they call this, you have here the milky white uterus. Again, the milky white uterine tubules are spirally wound around the blood-filled intestine and can be seen through your transparent cuticle as the barber's pole pattern. Okay, and so looping of whitish uterus to the red digestive tract will give you a barber's pole appearance. And yes, the male adult worm, it has a well-developed caudal bursa that is kidney-shaped and is single-lobed accordingly. Okay, and so this one, it demonstrates your barber's pole appearance. Okay, and so this illustration here. Okay, and so this one is an image of your Angustrongylus cantonensis. Now, it what you call this, your barber's pole appearance is really appreciated in here. Okay, and so this is another illustration of your Angustrongylus cantonensis. You have your barber's pole. Okay, and so for this one still. Okay, and yes, let's take a look at the life cycle. Okay, and so the life cycle, please note that the adult Angustrongylus cantonensis resides in the lungs of rats. Okay, and so they reside in the lungs of rats, and yes, particularly in the pulmonary arteries. Okay, and please note that the gravid female, or yes, the gravid female lay eggs. Okay, and so the lay eggs, which are transported into the smaller vessels of the lungs. Okay, and then after 6 days, please note that the eggs hatch and release the first stage larva. Okay, and so after 6 days, the eggs will hatch to release the first stage larva. What will this first stage larva do? They penetrate into the respiratory tract. Okay, and then the larva migrate up to the trachea and reach the oropharynx. And then, of course, they are swallowed eventually and expelled into the feces. Okay, and so that is for your first stage larva. Again, okay, and so the first stage larva is expelled into the feces of your, what do you call this? Your rats of your definitive host. Okay, what will happen then into your, what do you call this, then to your first stage larva. Okay, and so the first stage larva that is passed in the feces will penetrate or will penetrate your intermediate host, or your or this one is ingested by your intermediate host. Your intermediate host, again, here they are your uh, mollusks, your snail, your slugs. Okay, and so the kuhol and the suso. Okay, and so as for your kuhol, the scientific name is Pila luzonica. Okay, and then Pila luzonica for your kuhol, and the suso, the scientific name is Brotia asperata. Okay, and so for your suso, you have it as Brotia asperata. Okay, and so yes, in the intermediate host, the third stage larva are produced after two molts. Yes, the first stage larva will molt twice to produce your third stage larva. Okay, and yes, the molting is or takes 12 days. The molting takes 12 days to produce your third stage larva. And in human, when the infected snail or slug is ingested containing the third stage larva, the third stage larva will migrate to the brain. Okay, and so it will migrate to the brain, and yes, once in the brain, it will cause eosinophilic meningoencephalitis. Again, eosinophilic meningoencephalitis, of course. Okay, and so the larva, okay, and so the larva will migrate via, of course, the circulation. Okay, and yes, human infection. This one is caused by ingestion of raw mollusk. Okay, and so they are the intermediate host. Okay, infected with a third stage larva. Again, your intermediate hosts, you have your mollusk, your snail, you have your kuhol, your suso. Also, ingestion of leafy vegetables contaminated with mucus secretions of the mollusk carrying the infective stage, and then ingestion of a parathenic host like a freshwater prawn or crab harboring the infective stage of the parasite, and drinking, of course, of contaminated water. Again, the infective stage to humans is your third stage larva. Okay, and so this one illustrates accordingly your life cycle and the life cycle of your Angiostrongylos cantonensis. Okay, and so here, of course, the from your rats. Okay, and so the rats, they are the definitive host. They harbor the adult worm, and yes, the adult worm here, okay, and so will produce eggs, and then the eggs will hatch, I mean the larva. Okay, and so the first stage larva is released into the stool, and then the first stage larva is ingested or eaten, or it will penetrate the host, the intermediate host, sorry. Okay, and so the intermediate host will ingest, or will ingest the first stage larva, or the first stage larva will penetrate the intermediate host. In this case, you have your kuhol and your suso, or your Pila luzonica as the scientific name, and your Brotia asperata respectively. Again, mollusk or snail, they are the intermediate host of this one. Okay, and so once humans, okay, and so once man ingested the infected kuhol or suso, or the intermediate host, okay, and so the larva is liberated, and then, okay, and so will migrate or travel and migrate to the brain accordingly. Okay, as for the pathology and symptoms, please note that migration to the brain and spinal cord of the Angiostrongylus cantonensis larva will cause eosinophilic meningoencephalitis. And yes, other than your acute severe intermittent occipital or bitemporal headache, this one actually is the most common complaint of those infected with Angiostrongylus cantonensis. Aside from that, you have stiffness of the neck, paresthesia, vomiting, fever, nausea, blurred vision or diplopia, body or muscle pain, and fatigue. Also, confusion, incoherence, disorientation, and impairment of memory or coma. Profound coma is also observed in cases of Angiostrongylus cantonensis infection. Okay, please note that what you call this incubation period is around 6 to 15 days to have the symptom. And again, the chief complaint is you have your intermittent occipital or bitemporal headache. Okay, and yes, eosinophilia and symptoms of meningitis. Again, in this case, your eosinophilic meningoencephalitis, the CSF or the cerebrospinal fluid has increased WBCs with high number of eosinophils. Laboratory diagnosis, you have increased eosinophil count in the CSF. Again, okay, increased eosinophil count in the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, eosinophils in the blood is also increased. You have 7 to 36% of the white blood cell are eosinophils in the blood. And yes, please note that CSF protein levels in most patients is mildly elevated while the CSF glucose is normal. Accordingly, presumptive diagnosis may be made based on travel and exposure history. And yes, this one is correlated with clinical symptoms, medical history, laboratory findings, and brain imaging results, as well as serologic tests accord. As for the control of Angiostrongylus cantonensis infection or your parastrongylliasis. Okay, and so of course still, okay, and so proper eating habits and safe food preparation. And yes, what you call this, do not eat raw or poorly cooked mollusk or snails or unwashed vegetables. Okay, and so also thorough cooking of prawns and crabs and thorough washing of leafy vegetables because these prawns and your crabs, okay, and so they are also intermediate hosts of your Angiostrongylus cantonensis. Okay, and yes, elimination of snails and rodents accordingly. And yes, okay, and so please note that Angiostrongylus cantonensis, this one is found in okay, and so, or found in rats or snails in Batangas, Bulacan, Cavite, Ilocos Norte, Laguna, Mountain Province, Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, Pangasinan, Luzon, Rizal, Sorsogon, Tarlac, and Metro Manila. And yes, there are two ocular parastrongylliasis that have been reported from, okay, and so from the East Avenue Medical Center in Manila. Okay, and so these two, they are of from Isabela. Okay, yes. Okay, that is for your Angiostrongylus cantonensis. Thank you. And yes, see you around. Or tara, aakyat tayo.